Peace and love. Welcome back. And I got to jump right back on CERN one more time because I left out a real important symbol of CERN, and we're going to talk about that right now. And that's this god Shiva. Shiva is the I believe Hindu god of destruction. I think that's Hindu god of destruction. Let's check him out. Because if I'm not mistaken, it is a male deity. I could be wrong. It might be female. Pretty sure this is a male deity. This is a statue they have outside of CERN, right in front of CERN. Now, let's back up a minute. At the eclipse, they were shooting rockets at the eclipse, and the rockets was named after a god, Apep, serpent deity. What was it? The epitome of darkness and disorder. Oh man, I'm not gonna forget that this time. The epitome of darkness and disorder. It just got such a ring to it. I see why those people like it. So you got the rockets with the deity name. Now you got the CERN machine. Not only do you got the 666 logo, you got this deity Shiva right here. And you know what? That's not what I want. Let's go look up Shiva. Yeah, it is Hindu. Shiva is the god of destruction, and that's what I'm looking for right here. The god of destruction, the god of war. And they're just naming the deities associated with Shiva. These are the different names. Sanskrit, auspicious one. Yeah, that's a deity they got in front of CERN. And now the thing about CERN is, I know you've probably heard some of this, what they would call, once again, conspiracy talk about how CERN is about to destroy all these things or whatnot. This is why. They got this. This is one of the reasons why, part of the reason. They got this deity, Shiva, which is the god of Hindu god of destruction or war. Just a couple of things, if I'm not mistaken. And I didn't find it right there. I just wanted to point out that once again, you got another god that they're naming that they are representing as far as actual physical technological work they're doing. They're associating it with another deity by putting this statue in front of the building. People, oh, it's not called Shiva. It's like putting a cross on a church steeple. You understand what I'm saying? It's not called Jesus, but we all know what you go to church for, right? It's called church. You see what I'm saying? And just for the record, Jesus never went to church. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. We're gonna get into that too. But yeah, you got these deities, and you'll find this over and over again. What I'm trying to explain is this is a pattern. They do this over and over. If you check into the names of some of the things that they name these items, these electronics, these buildings, these structures, whatever, you'll find out that a lot of it is associated with different deities. I've done it. If you watch the movies, the characters in the movies, a lot of times when you look up the names of these main characters, and sometimes they'll have weird names, you'll find out they're associated with some deity. For example, once again, the Book of Lilith. Reading that, I brought that up once before. I think the video got cut off on it, and I meant to go back and talk about that. In movies, they will have characters named Lilith, Lily, Lisbeth, Elizabeth. What other names I'm thinking about? It's a whole list of these Lizzie names, these Elizabeth type names, and they're all different forms of the name Lilith. Now, who is Lilith? Lilith there's a whole book of Lilith that's not in the Bible. One of those books taken out of the Bible, like the Book of Enoch or the Book of David or whatever. You know what? I'm not sure of the book. Yeah, Book of Enoch too. Anyway, there are supposedly 3 versions of the book of Lilith, I think. And one of the oldest ones, and I want to say that's the only one I've read. I'm not sure if all 3 coincide with the same story. I want to say the oldest version is longer, though. So there might be some things missing in the other 2 versions. Anyway, the whole story is associated, well, I ain't going to say the whole story. A lot of the story is associated with Lilith because she is actually Adam's first wife before Eve. This is part that gets cut out of the Bible. That's why the story makes no sense. That's why all of a sudden Adam and Eve have children and they get married to these people from from the land of Nod, these women from the land of Nod, because there's books missing in the Bible. It's been chopped and screwed. So yeah, it's like you skipped through, you didn't tell part of the story. That's what's missing in some of these other books. So when it comes to the Book of Lilith, they talk about her being ultimately not only would you say the first witch, like would be the mother of all witches, like more than a witch. Not only was she over witches, she was also over vampires and werewolves, somewhat, if I'm not mistaken, involved in making vampires and werewolves. The whole concept of drinking blood, eating flesh, that's what these creatures are associated with. What do we do in the Christian church? We eat flesh and we drink blood. We don't think of it as satanic. Not at all. It's a regular ritual. Your grandma, your auntie do it. The grape juice tastes good. It's just some crackers, right? Nope. This is what you symbolically doing. And they make it sound all sweet. The preacher reads some scriptures telling you why you got to do this, why you supposed to do this, why the Bible says this is what you supposed to do. And then y'all say a prayer and y'all do the little ritual. And the real thing is the whole thing is satanic. And and most of us know this. When in the time you little and you first get told this stuff, you're like, drinking blood, eating flesh. Somebody got to explain to you that it's not really blood and it's not really flesh. You know what I'm saying? It's symbolic. They got to explain to you what that means. And that's all we're doing. We're doing this symbolic, satanic ritual every Sunday at noon. And we don't even see it as such. If the children in the elementary school near you put on a play, and in it, they what? Pretending to eat flesh and drink blood, and it ain't had nothing to do with Jesus, you want that play shut down. You be trying to get the school shut down, get teachers fired. Somebody need to be arrested. What you teaching these children? That's satanic. But you have your children do that shit every Sunday and don't think nothing else about it. Like you supposed to do it. You do it. Christians do it, and they feel so holy and reverent when they do it. It's like, I done did like, I bet, man, it's to sit in church and watch them when they do it and the look that coming over everybody's face, man, look, it's been a long time since I was sitting, I'm telling you, man, it is amazing. It is amazing what happens when you practice these rituals. When you're in it, you don't notice it. It's just what everybody does. When you're not in it and you just sitting there and watching, it's a whole nother story as you doing the rituals and whatnot. And make no mistake about it, these rituals are all about summoning the energy of certain spirits. That, plain and simple. This is what you would call in the movies what is a seance? We really summoning spirits. And on top of that, it's a blood ritual. Literally a blood ritual. That's what they want you to have in your head while you pretend to eat this grape juice or this wine and these crackers. You see what I'm saying? It's all associated with, it's all about associating things with different deities. Everything here really. Everything here is about associating things with different deities for different purposes. Yet all the deities are really all the same deity. Just chopped and screwed with a new set of clothes on every time. Dressed up to look like somebody else. Brand new name and everything. Straight up identity theft. Like, to the point where I'm going to be you, and then I'm going to be you so much, I'm going to switch up, and then I'm going to be somebody else on top of it. It's a character used to do that shit too, man. And I'm not even talking about The Mask, but that's a good one right there. But it's another character I'm thinking about used to just do that. They made a movie about him. Just be different people. There was a story about one dude. He was these were people that just pretended to be professionals when they had no degree, but they were good at it because they were so smart. But there was one story, I can't even remember what this story was, how it goes. But like there was a guy that like he was just switching identities, like being all different type of people. And I want to say it's Catch Me If You Can. I'm not sure if that's it though. That might be it. Excuse me. But yeah, and that's really what's going on with these deities. That's why it's so many names you can keep picking from and choosing. And much further than that, this is a Christian nation, right? Everybody be talking about, oh no, that's pagan worship, when you be talking about, oh, Jesus is sun worship and this, that, and the third, you know what I mean? Talking about how Christianity is taken from Egyptian culture and all that. Oh no, that's paganism. Christmas ain't part of the paganism practice. That's back then. It ain't like that now. And what I'm saying is, that's exactly what all these gods I'm naming. These are all these pagan gods they've been talking about. They still using the names and recycling it and doing these. And this is why they're using the names, because these things are rituals. All this stuff is really a ritual, invoking these different deities. That's why they naming these things by these deities. And sometimes it won't be the name. The name of the thing they use will be some scientific name that makes sense for whatever device it is or whatever, except when you take the first letter of the name they gave it, when you take the first letter of each word, it'll spell out some deity sometimes. That'll be the name. That's where people get it. Like, they do this with the words all the time. You just have to look for it. You have to understand. You at least have to have a knowledge of that it's even going on. You see what I mean? Before you can even look for it, and then you gotta. So what does it mean? Then you gotta figure out that. And if you can't figure it, and man, this is. I try to look for the chink in the armor, man, and this is one of the flaws in the internet if you know how to use it, because this is exactly what I wanted. There's so much information out there floating around. One person cannot possibly get it all right. Know it all and get it all right. Exactly right. We need the collective help of everybody in the community. Eat the fish and spit out the bones. And I try to tell people, even the agents, the ones that's against you, even them will tell you the right thing from time to time. You just got to know when they lying and when they telling the truth. And the only thing that can help you out with that is research. Research, studying, observation, all that stuff. Being a scientist. Really, the basics of being a scientist. They tell you only certain people can be a scientist or whatnot if you get a degree. No, everybody's supposed to be a scientist here. Everybody's supposed to be a mathematician. Everybody's supposed to be a musician. This whole place is sound and vibration. And when you talk about these things, that's all you're really talking about is sound and vibration. It's everything that's here. You're supposed to learn, observe, study everything here. Watching the stars in the sky is like, it's supposed to be like watching the clock, but they vilified it and demonified it. Oh, it's moon worship and all this other stuff. It ain't nothing like that. It's about knowing your environment. The problem with that, and this is why they vilify, is because they want you to learn more about this deity you'll never see, that you're worshiping, that they base all their stuff on, instead of actually what is happening in your outside world. You see what I'm saying? You want to learn about what's up there in the stars and the heavens above you? Read this book down here that I gave you. You see what I'm saying? Don't look up there and watch that shit. Don't observe how that moves. Don't observe nothing about that and try to pay attention to that. Now I think you worshiping the moon and the sun and the stars. That's a no-no, boy. That's paganism. You see what I'm saying? Read this book. This religion. That's the difference. That's how they try to flip the whole thing on us and switch up the story. So now all the gods that worship all these things going on out here are now part of this whole paganism thing. You understand what I'm saying? And these are just terms and words they put on stuff. These things just are. They use the words with this like they do with news stories, to paint a picture, to get you to feel a certain way about things when they tell you the story. When they tell you the story of this. When they tell you the story of Alexander the Greek. I call him the Greek because wasn't nothing great about him. Shout out to Dr. Ray Hagen. They tell you who your heroes are and who your villains are. And they word everything so you remember that. All you got to do is pay attention to how they say what they say. Every little thing, the devil is in the details, and every little thing about what they do. So when it comes to them building this CERN machine, they started in 1954. Come on, man. What is that? Almost 70 years at this point, 1954? And they chose the Shiva statue to put in front of it. Of all statues, of anything they could have picked, at a 70 years they had to choose before they finally built this thing, before they finally got it together. Right now, 70 years later, you know what? You could have made a decision and said, you know what? Maybe we don't want to use this Shiva statue because it sends the wrong message. That ain't what they doing. You see what I mean? And everybody's like, these are just coincidences. No. Once you have coincidence after coincidence after coincidence, it is a pattern of behavior. It's a pattern now. It's not coincidences no more. A coincidence is something that happened once every blue moon. Oh, just happened that y'all met up at the same time? Oh, no. When y'all meeting up at the same day, It's a pattern of behavior. You come to find out y'all both got a job in the same area, or y'all on the way or leaving the job, and it's a time schedule thing. You know what I'm saying? It's not a coincidence. It's a pattern. That's why y'all always meeting, because this person got a pattern in their life they doing, and this person got a pattern in their life that they doing, and at some point them patterns overlap and they meet. You see what I'm saying? That's all it was. That's why y'all keep meeting at the same time every day. That's what this is. They got a pattern they're running. This thing got a name after some deity. This thing got a name after some deity. This thing got some old deity statue. This thing got some old deity symbol on it. It's a pattern they're doing. And it's all around us. And because they didn't teach it to us, people that don't know nothing about what these symbols are, what they mean, it don't mean anything. Or even better yet, it's all devil worship to them. That's the other part of the game. They done taught learning anything about this stuff is like some evil stuff that is gonna send you to hell. You ain't gonna make it to heaven because your thoughts was impure. You was trying to learn about Shiva, the god of the god of destruction. You know what I mean? Like, you must be an evil person. Oh, you were learning about Satanism and what people believe about Satanism. What are the practices? You read the book of Satanism or something. You know what I mean? You must be an evil person. That's a whole nother issue with the Bible, because the Bible is dead set against you learning some stuff. It's just believe in the Bible, believe in the power of God, believe in all this other stuff. Not know. It's like they don't want you to know what the fuck is going on. You know what I mean? Just believe in some stuff that we told you. That's the message that I used to get from the Bible. And anytime you start asking some questions that actually make sense, like, where did Adam and Eve's sons get their wives, then it's, oh man, you questioning God. You asking too much. If you don't know, just say so. You know what I mean? I figure it out. I find out. It's okay. No, you asking too many questions. Now you the devil. Now you questioning God. You going to hell for questioning God. Please tell me I'm not the only one that grew up in the church like that. Please tell me I'm not the only one. I can't be. Man, I hope I'm not. That means it was worse than I thought. You know what I'm saying? That means it was worse than I thought. But I'm out of that now. But God damn. Ooh. Yeah. Back to these deities, man. What's the next deity I was gonna tell you about? I'm not sure. That might have been it. Shiva. We got the rocket. We got that thus far. Okay, dealing with the CERN machine. Now, as far as all the more of these stories about CERN causing this destruction, and let's be clear. It is scientists that's been saying this. It's been scientists. Some respected by the scientific community, some not. Okay? Over the years, it's been different scientists that are saying these things. Now, religious people have seen correlations with the Bible in the process of using the CERN machine. So they've been saying some things about the whole destruction and creation of Earth and whatnot. Now, once people like me, we're seeing certain patterns of behavior. People like me are looking at this thing and seeing certain patterns of behavior and seeing certain things repeat, like these names of deities and whatnot, and reading about what these deities are. That's where in lies a lot of the other things about what could be happening, because Shiva's the god of destruction. It's a statue they got in front of CERN. You see what I mean? So you can sort of correlate, okay, why is that your symbol? You know what I mean? Like, if my thing is about health and helping people, you want like the medical symbol, right? But if your thing is destruction and whatnot, what better symbol than the god of destruction to put it right there in your front doorstep? You see what I'm saying? That's what they're doing. That's what people are looking at and seeing. Now, their scientists are also the ones that said it could have the ability to recreate the Big Bang. And they really told you the truth because this place has changed. They have altered this place. They've made a new place. It's almost exactly like the old place, not quite. It's a whole thing with the 7 billion people, because when I found out about the Mandela, well, not when I found out, when I realized the Mandela effect was real and it wasn't just some stuff that these companies were changing and then trying to erase old records and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? When I understood that it was a real thing, I knew it was going to get worse. And I didn't know how bad it would get. And I said, you know, at the time, eventually, I think people are going to start disappearing. And whether or not we'll remember them, that's a whole nother issue. You know, it's just like the King Tut, vulture and the snake. People have looked at it so much, they're like, oh, it's always been there. Nah, it ain't. It ain't. It used to never be there. And you only make one. I gotta keep repeating that. You only make one. It's a burial mask, so there's only one burial mask. So when you look for the King Tut mask, for the vulture and the snake, you'll see all the other versions of different masks that were different headdress that were worn that only has a snake on it. You see what I'm saying? That's why you'll see those. Those are not the King Tut burial mask. The King Tut burial mask is the only one that has, well, I can't say the only one, the king and the queen is the only one that has the snake and the vulture. And see, that don't make sense because everybody else just got the snake. Because the snake represents Upper Egypt, if I'm not mistaken, and the vulture represents Lower Egypt. You see what I mean? The two were not combined. So even having it up there don't make sense. You got to explain that. So that means it's a whole nother story got to be told. And when the thing is, like, I started really understanding how they can change history. Like, and we already know, we get it. It's like this sunset and sunrise. They're not mentioning it. They're not talking about it. They're acting like it's absolutely normal. Now, what's going to happen is all the people that remember that it's changed, that know it's changed, and sitting here talking about it, eventually we won't be here one day. You see what I'm saying? And there's a whole nother group of people that's here right now that don't even know that shit's changed. You can ask them. They're in their 20s, they're in their 30s, they ain't got a clue that shit's changed. Not a clue. So when you get rid of when the people that know about it are all gone, 50, 100 years from now, less than that, you can tell them anything you want. You can say it's been this way the whole time. People will think, you can make up a whole nother story about time. And see, the thing is, you can't change time. You can't add an extra day or 5 more days or anything. You can't do that. Time always is what it was, and it will always be that. Except you can change the concept of time in a person's head. You can get them on thinking on your paradigm, your concept of time. You give them a clock, you give them a watch, you give them holidays to celebrate on a regular, keep them a calendar. This is the day, on that little schedule. No matter what the weather is like, you'll say this is what it is. You see what I'm saying? So we be looking at it and be like, why is it like 45 degrees and it's almost the middle of summer? Why is that? Why is it 75 degrees and it's like the middle of winter? Why is that? You see what I mean? these people been messing with time for so long, we don't really know how old we are. Because the dates, they're not right. Our time is not right. Julius and Augustus Caesar added 2 months to the calendar, August and July. And then 5 extra days. And then a leap year got added. And then now we do daylight savings time. And I'm telling you, there's been times it went back 2 hours. I'm telling you. I remember this as a child. And now everybody's saying, no, it's always been 1 hour. It's always been 1 hour. Dog. Like I said, if something's changed, how you know it's changed if you didn't know what it was in the first place? How you even know? Man, it's crazy. It's crazy. And that's all dealing with the whole CERN machine and all that. Now, something else I wanted to bring up. Because we talking about these deities and the CERN machine. No, let me get back to that. I'm write that down so I don't forget. Because I forgot some stuff to get back to on the last video, and I'm going to get better at that. Because, yeah. Anyway, it's all good. We're going to get there. We're going to go over all of it. With the CERN thing, like I said, not only the whole Shiva thing adds to the mystique about they're doing something mischievous or some evils going on over there, or they're dealing with some ancient powers or whatnot. There's been some ceremonies at CERN that took place when supposedly nobody was supposed to be around, or very limited people. Some type of acted out sacrifice took place. Excuse me. And I'm trying to think of what I need to type in. No, I'm not gonna get the right thing. Try this. See if I can find the images. Here we go. What's your boy do the little whistle and point? Yeah, I need him to pop up right now. This is one of the things they did. This is one of the things that happened. Some people had came in at CERN, and CERN's got cameras everywhere. Like, what you doing? They got cameras everywhere. Now, apparently, some people had come into CERN and performed this little mock. See how they're cloaked? They all got these black cloaks on, except this girl right here. This was the sacrifice. This was the ritual sacrifice, but it was like a mock ritual sacrifice. She didn't really die. They just sort of acted this whole thing out. I'm not going to play the video, but there's some videos still floating around the internet. You can find them. Go look them up. Now, this is one of the things that happened. Oh, man. What year was this? I'm not sure. I have to look at it. Let me continue on. But somewhere around 2018, 2019, I think this took place. Might have been around 2020 when everything was going on. It was a lot of stuff going on in 2020, so it might have been in 2020 when this happened. This little ritual took place. These guys, these people here, whoever they are, they're all in cloaks. They said they didn't get their faces. They didn't know who they were. They performed this little death ritual in front of the Shiva statue, the god, this statue right here. Once again, dealing with these deities. This is not a coincidence. You'll look at this at one incident and be like, "Oh, it's just a college prank, man. It was people playing around." Well, I ain't finished yet. We ain't heard all the details yet of how you get into CERN. So, even with that, it's like, it don't mean nothing. How do you look at stuff like this continuously? Like, and maybe I Can't say continuously because I see it a lot. I mean, I'm always looking at it though. Like when you show it to people, like how do you look at that and be like, oh no, it don't mean nothing. Like I don't know, man. And maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I've just changed that much now. All this stuff means a lot. And this is crazy, man. But they performed this little death ritual, did their thing, whoop de woo, la da la, and they left. And I don't even think they did any damage or whatnot. It's just that they found out that they did it. These video of the whole thing got leaked and whatnot. Now here's the thing: to get into CERN, because you don't know anybody that works at CERN. You've never known anybody that works at CERN. You don't know anybody got a job application, even try to get in. You might have known some people went to CERN to look at it, but you don't know nobody work for CERN. You see what I'm saying? To get into CERN, you're supposed to have this special pass card. This is supposedly everybody wasn't even chipped up to get up in there. But you're supposed to have this special pass card for anybody to get into CERN. And the pass card only works for one person at a time somehow, and only one person can use it to get in. So everybody here had to have a little pass card or something, or some way to bypass the whole system in order to get into CERN. You see what I mean? And do this ritual, just to do this ritual and just leave. And they acted like, at the time when this thing came out, they acted like it wasn't a big deal. Oh, it was nothing. And nobody ever got caught for coming in there and doing that. With all the cameras, this is how we got the video. With all these are CERN's cameras that took this while they were out there, just out there doing the video. No alarms went off, no security was called. They just did this whole thing and left. La da 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 da. Like ain't nothing, everything's all good. And what I'm saying is, they were allowed to do this, man. Like, and maybe the tapes got leaked. Maybe they leaked the tapes on purpose, because part of what the whole thing is, they got to show you what's going on. And then once again, we are in a time of revelations. Things are being revealed to you, and you have the option to ignore it and kick on like everything is honky-dory and wait on the next championship and the next vacation and the next shit you're gonna buy or whatever. I don't know. Or you can pay attention to the signs and wonders that are happening around us. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of stuff going on. It's a lot of stuff happening. And so, but this is one of those incidents that happen that bring this whole mystique about CERN and the ritual aspect and dealing with evil stuff. So when they start talking about, oh, we're opening up portals, people looking at the Bible and whatnot, talking about the demons and whatnot, and these people have talked about actually hearing voices and having communication from within these wormholes they have been creating. Some people will say they haven't fully created or haven't done. There is real a lot of misinformation being put out about it. Best I can tell, they've been creating portals, they've been having communication, and apparently or actively trying to or have done the one thing of bringing something through or sending something through one of these portals. Hence the rockets they were shooting at them. You see what I'm saying? They always have a story they telling, and the story they telling don't make sense. That's the whole thing about it. Like, you could why you got the satellites up there? They ain't got the capability. You gotta fire rockets. Why ain't you done this years ago? They was waiting for the right eclipse. It's the right time now. That's why. They'll say years ago we didn't have the technology. You know what I mean? And this event might not happen for years to come. And then years to come, we have some more technology now. We got to fire some more rockets at the eclipse. Or it might be that every time an eclipse happens now we got to fire some rockets at it because we got this technology. Why? It didn't work the first time? And about these readings or whatever, you won't hear nothing about it. It'll be a bunch of boop, 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 like nothing. Oh, yes, it was a regular eclipse, and they might just show you. Don't get me started, man. These people will pull a rabbit out of a hat for real. So when they was sending that thing to Mars, I said, watch. They ain't gonna show you none of the trip of that thing going to Mars. They can't. It's just gonna be, they gonna leave Earth, and all of a sudden, ta-da, we gonna be on Mars. And what happened? They left Earth, and ta-da, they was on Mars. This is why they can't show you none of the trip. It's too much to fake. It's too much. It's too many people out here on the internet deciphering these videos, running them through programs, trying to see how many layers and filters you got on the video you putting out to show us how you faking space. It's too many people that know. So that they already know that all they got to do is look. It's like finding Waldo. You got the whole book, and the book is Where's Waldo? So you know that in every picture, Waldo is in there somewhere. You just got to keep looking. So that's all you got to do with the videos. They fake in space. So all you got to do is just dig far enough into it, and you'll find a chink in the armor. You'll find out where they fucked up. It's right there in front of you. You know what I mean? That's pretty much the way it works. But yeah, I'll get started on the NASA stuff. I don't want to do that right now. We're going to jump back on NASA though, man. This whole space thing, because the train on space, like I've been hearing about that shit, but like that for real, like you done actually sequestered some money, some taxpayer money for this company to go build a train on space. Are you fucking kidding me? And ain't nobody up there to use it. We got all these people here that's homeless, but y'all gonna build a train on space. I keep telling you these, and they will tell us the most goofiest shit so they can go spend some money. That's the part that be pissing me off, man. I mean, damn, people will actually sit there actively and defend that shit, talking about one day we gonna be on the moon and you gonna wish we had that train. These motherfuckers be making me mad. I'm trying to tell you. Are you serious? We ain't even got good water right now. Y'all, Flint water still fucked up. But y'all gonna build a train on space. Train on the moon, I mean. How many rocket launches that gonna take? You see what I'm saying? It's just a money pit to tell you where it's going. It can go on anywhere. They can do anything they want to do with it. As long as they give you somewhere and you can look on paper and be like, that where it went. It went to the train. Oh man. That one hurt me right there. I look and watch people be like cheering for this shit. Yeah, train, yeah. Oh man, cause just like they like train sets or some shit like that. It's crazy. Yeah, this the whole mystery behind CERN. Back to CERN now. This is part of the whole mystery behind CERN. While people have all this conspiracy theory stuff to say about CERN and whatnot. And here's the thing about it. Don't let none of that end of the world stuff scare you or fool you, because the end of the world already happened. It's already happened. It happened when, well, probably before sunset and sunrise changed. It's already happened though. Sunset and sunrise is just proof of it happening. You know what I mean? So when it comes to the rest of the history, just like with this, when the people die off, they actually know what happened, they'll just tell whatever story it is. And that's what I be trying to tell people. So the story we getting, like, it's just the best that we got. You know what I mean? Because it's going to change later. Whatever is happening now has happened before. There's nothing new under the sun. You understand? From the rooter to the tutor, ain't nothing new under the sun. Everything is everything. It's always been this way. this is really where the whole simulation theory comes in. Years ago, probably back in the early 2000s, they had a monkey that was living out his life on a computer. This monkey was in the bed, hooked up the wires and tubes that was feeding him. The body was. The monkey itself, the consciousness of the monkey was in the computer, living out his life. It ate, slept, played, shitted in the computer. The body stayed on his bed. It didn't move. It was fed intravenously just to keep the body alive from decaying. The monkey itself was in the computer. What they did was take out the consciousness of the monkey and put it into the computer. You understand? And this is the simulation theory. There's nothing new under the sun. If we are doing this now, we have probably already done it. That means our world we live in now is a simulation. Hence, you are not matter. You are light and vibration. The world was not created in the sense that you had substance to create it with. It was thunk into creation. In the Bible, it says that there was darkness, and then there was light, and then there was a great sound. Sound and vibration. The light and the sound. Light and vibration. Vibration and frequency. Light and vibration. That's what we are. Light and vibration. Light and sound, frequency and vibration. We all vibrate at our own frequency. The goal is to vibrate on the frequency in harmony with the earth. 432 megahertz. In science, the Big Bang. It's exactly what it says it is. There is a Big Bang and a bright light, an explosion, the Big Bang. Light and sound, frequency and vibration. Both cases, they telling you what it is, they just giving you two different stories to tell it to you. It's not the only two stories. You see what I'm saying? It's not the only two stories. This place was thunk into creation. That's the simulation theory, that we are already inside of a computer. Our world is a projection. Everything here is not real. What you see, the flesh, the bone, the blood, it's not real. It's light. We think it's real. And that would, you gotta bear with me because I haven't looked this up. That's holography. It's basically holograms, except you made the hologram so real you can touch it and feel it. And they've been working on this for a long time. They still got Tupac and Michael Jackson dancing in Vegas right now. You see what I'm saying? And every time people go, they like, the holograms just get so more and more real. They can't even hardly tell it's not real people. You see what I mean? They're working on a process right now. There is nothing new under the sun. If we've done it before, If we're doing it now, we've probably done it before. We have done it before. This is why you have carvings of planes and tablets and watches and computers on the walls of the pyramid. Hieroglyphics of these things in pyramid on the pyramid. This is why. It's not cause they had something they was just drawing and it looked almost like that. No, it's because that's what they had and they drew it on the walls to show you. Except we've been letting somebody else interpret all these symbols. They drew light bulbs on the wall. They had electricity. I remember being in school and they told us those light bulbs were lotus flowers. What I do? Light bulbs on pyramid. There we go. Light bulbs on the pyramid wall right there. They told us this was a lotus flower. But you see that? That's a big ass light bulb. Like, nah, Cole, there ain't no light bulb. And it looks like it's a snake in there too, right? Because it is a snake. Once again, the snake is a sine wave, but it goes a lot deeper than that. I'm not even going to start because I'd be a fool to even try to play that game because there's more Bro Sanchez lane because he go deep into the meaning of the symbols. He's done a lot of research, and I'm not going to muddy up his work trying to copy it or whatnot. But, like, yeah, I knew about this years ago. I saw this. I figured this out myself before. And Bro Sanchez is one of the first people coming out saying this open, like screaming it. They had electricity. This is what it was. And it's not, and a lot of times people tell you it's just an obscure carving. It's not exactly what it looks like. But let me tell you what it is. This is a Crookes tube. That's what it is. What they had was a Crookes tube. And a little bit about a Crookes tube is you can create a laser with a Crookes tube or you can create a hologram with a Crookes tube. I'm looking for a certain one. Because they do have a lot of images, and it's probably with the carvings, but they got a lot of images that are almost a lot of Crookes tubes that are almost exactly like the carvings on the Egyptian walls. But this is it, basically. And remember how I said the thing had a snake in it before? Hold up. What we doing? What we doing? Back up. Whoa. All right. My bad, y'all. I was just trying to um make it a. Oh man, my computer acting funny. Make it a little larger so you can see that on the inside it does have a little wire in there. And then once again, like, I need to learn more about these Crookes tubes exactly to why you would have that piece there. I mean, it has to do with how you want the light to project out to exactly why you wanted to do that. Because I'm just looking at the symbol, and once again, it's this cross. The type it's a certain type of cross though, and it's just funny. I picked that one to pull up because they're not all like that. Take this one for instance. What it is sort of like that, but they're not all like that though. They're not all like that. Like this one doesn't have it. But I'm assuming, yeah, that's probably a style that they use when they do it. Um, Let me go back to the other one. See if I can find it. Because there's a much better picture where they actually duplicated the Crooks tubes that were on the Egyptian walls in the same style that these Crooks tubes that we make today are. And I don't see it up here, but you get the point though. The ancient Egyptians had electricity, and a Crooks tube with a Crooks tube you can make a laser or you make a hologram. And as I said before, this is all part of simulation theory. If we're doing it now, we have done it before. There's nothing new under the sun. So if we're making simulation, back to the monkey being in the computer, living his life out in the computer, if we've done it then, we've already done it. And this whole thing we're doing now, we're inside of a computer program. This is the Matrix. You see what I'm saying? And it just keeps relooping. So when it comes to these, what we're calling resets, as they're using the CERN machine and the whole world is changing whenever they've done this before. So this time right now, they're adding another layer to this whole thing. And they've been talking about this for a while. Bro Sanchez especially, that's what I've been listening to for the most part. I've heard other people saying this though. They are adding another layer to our reality. It's deeper into the rabbit hole. And to be honest with you, being in the Matrix is the rabbit hole. It's already in it. You're already in it. All the stuff that was in Wonderland, you're already there. We already got it. When you go into the rabbit hole, as people like to say, going into the rabbit hole, you're actually working your way out. This is one of those things where the only way out is going in. You see what I mean? All the stuff that people ignore is the earth flat. Did they go to the moon? Why are all the presidents related to the same family? The 13 ruling royal families, the Illuminati, all that stuff. All that stuff is the rabbit hole. All the stuff people like to ignore and forget about because they like living in the Matrix. They just worried about the next holiday, the next celebration, the next birthday, the next anniversary, the next championship, the next gift they're gonna get, the next vacation, the next pair of shoes, the next clothing item, the next watch, the next phone, the next tape, the next, on to the next. On to the next. It was a rapper had a song, on to the next. And that's basically how they keep us in this loop and in this cycle because we don't never stop and think what's really going on. And to get out of the cycle, to figure out what's going on, to elevate to your higher self is to go into the rabbit hole to figure out what the fuck is really happening. To pay attention to all these signs and symbols and wonders and whatnot that the Bible be telling you about. To pay attention to the stars and shit. Because what it say, no man knoweth the day or time. Look to the stars or something. Look to the skies or something like that. I don't remember. I haven't read the Bible in a long time, and I ain't gonna try to quote it exactly. But the Bible, people that know the Bible, you know what I'm talking about. That's who I'm talking to. And everybody else, you're gonna have to look it up, man. I ain't gonna look it up right now, man. But we are gonna get into looking at some Bible stuff at some point, man. And definitely gotta go over the Willie Lynch letter. That's another thing, man. Definitely the Willie Lynch letter. At some point, I gotta make that a must. Um, but yeah, so when it comes to our world being projected in the CERN machine, and did I go off the CERN machine? I think I did, but the CERN machine and them talking about a perfect beam. They said they got a perfect beam on April the 5th, and what they're talking about is this thing right here. This is part of the CERN machine, and it's in a lot of movies. They show it over and over. It's the thing that always shoots the big bright beam of light into the sky, and the clouds get black. Excuse me, I'm a little tongue tied. Let me get some water here. Mouth dry. This happened in back in the 80s in the movie Ghostbusters, where Stay Puft was walking down Main Street, 25th Ave, whatever it was in New York City, and the big beam shot out in the sky, and it was supposed to bring down the that last demon that was supposed to embody the body of one of the characters. I can't remember. It's the same principle. This is what they doing. This is what they talking about. See, right now, and I heard Bro Sanchez saying this, and I get it. I don't know if this is right. It sounds right. The symbols is right there. They're actually doing this shit. Shit is getting so bad right now for them. And what do I mean right bad for them? More people are starting to be aware. More people are starting to wake up. It's people I can talk to about flat earth that 2 years ago, they was looking at me sideways like I was stupid. You know what I mean? But now I keep showing them stuff, and like they keep seeing things, and like they done started asking their own questions, and they not getting good answers when they look. You know what I'm saying? So it's starting to happen more and more, and there's more people that's talking about it. It's more people that's doing podcasts. It's more people in the average neighborhood just mentioning some stuff, just thinking about some stuff more and more and more. And what's happening is, this is, like I said, this is revelations. Everything come from the sky. And I don't know exactly how they have this beam pointed. And I think they have this pointed up. Because this is what you get. These are the images that you get. You see what I'm saying? They don't show you the whole CERN machine because it's a big long tube, so it's different parts to it or whatever. But they're shooting this beam, and I'm assuming all of this is underground. Excuse me. And now this is what I think they're doing. They're going to open up that portal and shoot that beam through it. Somehow with this CERN machine. Because I'm assuming all of this is underground unless they have this thing pointed up somewhere. I don't know. But yeah, just reading yesterday about how they got a perfect beam on April 5th. And I'd been hearing about this perfect beam, and I didn't know really what it was. But yeah, it's this device. I thought this what it was. I wasn't sure. But now that I actually see it, like, yeah. Confirm existence of the force. It's a lot of stories, and they're scientists. What it say? CERN researchers confirm existence of the force. Then you read into the story, it's a lot more. I haven't read into this story yet. Maybe that's one thing I'll do, read into the story for everybody. This is the thing. When it comes to the awakening, though, I'm telling you, ain't nothing like when you do it for yourself. I promise you. When you start making your mind work, when you start and figuring it out, man, it's something special, man. It's something special. That's all I'm gonna say, man. It's something special. But yeah, so with this perfect being bringing down this other deity, bringing out this other deity, this is supposed to be the bigger boss coming through. Because like I said, things for them is getting bad. More people is waking up. They're being aware. They're trying to be healthy. They trying not to, listen to certain music or be associated with certain products or whatnot. Just all types of stuff across the board, man. People are out here trying to ground themselves nowadays. You know what I mean? There's more people trying to work out, get in shape. Just little stuff like that. So what they're doing is bringing in the big boss. All right, young fella, man. You've been running this thing for long enough, man. But you falling off right now. We're gonna have to bring in somebody new. So that's what they're doing with the CERN machine. It's a reset of the world, change of history, a little bit of the timeline. Things that have happened and whatnot, and you bring in a new boss. And he's gonna run things a little bit differently. The old system got to go. You're bringing in the new system. This is the real destroying of the world. It's not that it's not going to be here no more. It's just that we're going to keep kicking on like nothing's changed. It says, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I'm going to say it again. Revelations in the Bible, it says that all this stuff was going on the earth, and the people were just walking around like they were in a daze, like oblivious to all the stuff. Like the walking half dead or whatever, you know what I mean? Like unaware of how horrible stuff was. It didn't matter to them. That's us. That's us. All this stuff going on and don't even care. It's still light outside at 9:30, 9:45 at night, man, and don't even care. Don't even wonder why. Just, ooh. That's us. Just walk around oblivious, man. We already there, man. And so when you get to the end of the story, what happens? You run the story again. That's why it stops in Revelations. And I'll be honest with you, I haven't read all the way to the end of Revelations, man. And that's something I need to do. Go back and read all the way to the very end of Revelations. Because I always stop somewhere in the middle or somewhere towards the end. I'm like, nah. You know what I'm saying? For the first time I'm going to be here when Revelations happens. I might need to know what's going on. You know what I mean? I might need to know what happens next. How the story ends and we get back to the Genesis thing again. Because that's where we're going. You know what I mean? And I'm one of them ones, I plan to be here for a minute. I ain't got no plans going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm trying to change my ways. I've been doing a couple things, fasting and whatnot, man. Like, yeah, it's a lot to be said for that stuff, man. Changing your diet, not eating certain stuff. Because I got to tell you, I'm going to tell you straight up right now, since 2020, most of us ain't eating real meat. Since 2020, most of us is not eating real meat. And just cause you got your beef from a certain farmer or whatnot, and he been growing his cattle for the 20 years, 30 years or whatever, they've been cloning the damn animals. They've been doing it. How long they been doing it? Who knows? They've been doing this shit and not telling people that them animals is cloned. People are buying animals and not knowing they clone animals. Everything they do, they run experiments out before they do it. Does it work? Does it get past us? This thing with feeding us bugs, they've been feeding us bugs, man. It's just that now they openly telling us. You know what I'm saying? They're making regulations to how much bugs they're gonna feed us and whatnot. but they been feeding us bugs. Grub worms. There's a movie, Blade Runner, the new Blade Runner, the recent one. It's a 2000 Blade Runner. Anyway, in it is Dave Bautista in the beginning of the movie, and he's on this distant planet, and he's a farmer, and he's farming grub worms. And the grub worms are for protein, for people to eat. They put this in the movies. They've been feeding us grub worms for a long time, for years now. There's a movie on Netflix, What the Health? What the Health. Remember that, on Netflix. It's a good one. There's a couple others. I can't think of the name right now. I'm not sure if that's in What the Health, the grub worm part, but a lot of what they've been feeding us as far as meat over the years and how the meat is treated, like it's in that movie. It's even in the vegetables. You know what I mean? So a lot of this stuff is not what you think it is, even though it's labeled certain things and people say it as this and that. It's really not what it is. We think that's what it is. And at this point, they just out here outlandishly like, we making meat, we 3Ding meat, plastic is the new protein. Oh, yeah. They literally, that's why people is talking about all the plastic. It's not just from the environment. They actually got plastic in the food. That's dead ass. For real. It's crazy. So with the CERN thing, once again, man, like our universe being changed, sunset, sunrise, all that plays a part in the whole Mandela effect and why things are happening, because we live in a multiverse. It's just not a universe. Now, I do think that in the base reality, it would be a universe. There's only one version of us that would be possible. If we are in a simulation, and there are multiple universes within this simulation. So in the base reality, we would be outside of the simulation in what will be called a universe, a singularity. You know what I'm saying? One universe. You know what I mean? An outside version. See, before people were like, well, maybe we're all in a bed somewhere and hooked up to some machine running this thing. Maybe so. Maybe that's still what's happening. Except outside of the simulation, there will be a base reality, which would be the real world. And we never seen anything that's actually real or natural. We've been in this computer simulation this whole time. And this is why that ship I was talking about before I had seen it comes into play. Because seeing those drones fly over in front of me, it didn't surprise me. It didn't shock me. I've been watching these drones in the skies for a long time. At that point, I was just like, I knew I was right. I knew them wasn't regular fucking planes. I knew they was fucking drones, and they was just flying low. That's all it was. It was the fact that they did this in broad daylight and had that ship right there. That's what really got me. Like broad daylight, and I was looking at people walking around and whatnot, cars going up and down the road, and it wasn't nothing like the movies, you know, where the ship is flying and everybody sees and they stomping and honking on horn. Wasn't nothing like that. Everybody carried on like it was normal. Nobody saw it. We so like this right here, looking at our phones, we don't see nothing. We don't be noticing a thing a lot of times, man. And it's wild. That's what really got me, man. And I'm sitting here talking about interdimensional travel. We live in a multiverse. You know, oh, Cole, that sounds so crazy and whatnot. These people have been on this stuff. So when it comes to the ship I saw, what was it? The movie that it was in is called Flight of the Navigator. Now, the thing about this movie is that it is about this little boy who falls in the gets hurt in the woods, falls. The ship takes him, and he actually time travels. He comes back home to Earth 10 years later to find that he has not aged, yet everybody else is 10 years older. You see what I'm saying? Basically interdimensional travel. And it's weird. It's not weird. It's predictive programming that they would use this ship in this movie, because my theory is later on you will see the ship. There will be a ship similar to it. They'll finally let you see it. Right now, this is what I'm saying. It's so much stuff flying up in the sky right now, and they're cloaking it. Somehow, some way, they're cloaking it. It's cloaking itself. Invisibility is a real thing. We can go into that. Anybody think they don't have the ability to make things invisible, you really haven't been keeping up with technology. They done had this stuff out since like the late 80s, early 90s. They've been doing this. So, my thing is like in the future, you'll see these things because they're already doing them right now. So in the movie, the little boy was in the ship, and he was basically doing this interdimensional time travel. They were going backwards and forwards in time. And the problem was getting him back to his correct time. They didn't exactly have the coordinates. And it's funny that they use this ship. Now, this ship that they got here, this ship is a monster compared to what I saw. What I saw was a little bigger than the size of this car. These drones that was flying with, these Air Force drones, I'm assuming. I'm not sure. I didn't get a good look at what was written on the side. I was more focused on the ship. These drones were probably the size, probably the length of a bus, maybe a little longer than a bus. And the thing in the middle, it was about the same size. Not much smaller, and it was nowhere near the size of this thing right here where you got the people walking out. You see what I'm saying? At best, this thing was a one-passenger vehicle. Or maybe it was a drone already as well. This was not something big, you know what I'm saying? Well, you had room to do all this with a hatch and whatnot. It wasn't that type of thing. Like I said, the drones are small. They're not real. They're not the size of planes. They're like little the hobby aircraft, the hobby planes or whatever. The people about like that. That's what they look like. Those things are sort of small. Some of those you can hold in your hand or whatever. These things were sort of large, but you could tell they weren't regular size planes. And this thing is probably the size of maybe a large car, man. Maybe the size of a bus. I don't think it was that big, the size of a bus. You know what I mean? It'd have been hard for one person to get in there. There would have been a hatch or something like that. But this is what it looked like, though. Same design. Same thing. And it's crazy. So I really see in the future, eventually, this being shown to you in some way, shape, or form. You know what I mean? Just like they do with just like they did with the triangle aircraft, and they're calling it some alien shit. Oh, it's aliens, and they got the guy Jeremy Cornell and George Knox over there with Bob Lazar. Oh, we don't know what it is. We talked to the military. We don't know, and they don't want. Boy, this is a game. This is a game they playing. They don't want to do. And they sit up there with on Joe Rogan show with a straight face. He in on it too. Like, they in on it. And because we love these celebrities, we don't want to believe that's true. Which is a whole nother thing with the T. Diddy and the TD Jakes and Cat Williams, man. But yeah, that's crazy. So I saw this ship, and they're talking about this interdimensional travel. And in this movie, this is what they were doing, this interdimensional time travel type thing. They were flying to different periods in time within Earth, and could do it all around the galaxy, apparently, from the conversations they were having. You know what I mean? And what I'm saying is, this is what these people are already doing. And in the base reality, we wouldn't be able to do that. And the purpose of this whole simulation theory, a lot of people say it is to learn. And that's what I think it started out that way. Somehow now we have this force in here that I don't think is supposed to be here. I'm not sure. I've always thought that it wasn't supposed to be here. And now it could be, and I think this is just theory, that it could be they are here to help us because we're supposed to wake up. It's sort of like, if life is all good all the time and you never notice anything going wrong, would you wake up? You know what I mean? And what I mean is every aspect of life. If every aspect, would you have noticed the discrepancies? And you know, for myself, because I never really thought about, like, back being a child, thinking about that. Life was good. I was oblivious. Yes, I would have noticed. So, as far as I'm concerned, like, that still leads me to think that these people are not supposed to be here. They're the virus. This is the invasion. These are the pirates that go around taking everyone's land and whatnot and making you think that you're not from that land. Now that they've taken over the land, now you're not from there. This is how they erase history and change it and make everything look strange. This is what I was saying about sunrise and sunset. After certain people have gone off, you don't have anybody to oppose you that actually knows. They're going off the history that you leave behind to tell them. You see what I'm saying? And if you say it's always been like this in all the books, then it's always been like this. And we're not even talking about the Mandela effect yet. You know what I'm saying? That changing. Well, we are, but on top of that, having it change again. You know what I mean? So when it comes to the history now of what's going on, that you have to really be able to read between the lines. Like, I did a lot of research. I looked into people who wrote these books, not just the books themselves. And it's like, whatever subject, I didn't read just one author and say, oh, this is it. Depending on how many people wrote books, usually it's somewhere around 10 to 12, sometimes 8, sometimes as many as 20. So if you got 10 people that wrote books on a subject, I'm going to check out 3 or 5 of those books, depending on what it is. If a lot of the information just keep getting repeated, I'm probably going to cut it out to 3. And it's going to be one from the top, the best known, the least known, the least respected, and then somebody in the middle. You know what I'm saying? I take one from each category, from those 3 areas, and I compare all of them, and then figure out why y'all are where y'all are. You know what I'm saying? Where'd you go to school at? And you know what I come to find out? A lot of these people, they went to same schools, same colleges, took the same classes. The people that are least respected, a lot of them were making better grades than the people that are so respected now. But somewhere along the line, the people that are least respected, They done said something that went against the mainstream narrative, and now they are sort of what's the word humiliated, discredited. That's what I'm thinking. They're discredited. This happened to this Nikola Tesla. That's why everybody thinks Nikola Tesla is about crazy and almost killed himself in an experiment, because his experiment was sabotaged to discredit him, to make him look like he was going to kill himself. Like what he didn't, to make him look like he didn't know what he was talking about. That's why I was happy, because he's in a beef with, what was it? I think Thomas Edison and General Electric, I think. One of those electric companies, man, way back in the day. I can't think of the name of it. But instead of you knowing about Tesla, you know about Thomas Edison, who brought you the light bulb and electricity and all that, right? Right. That's the way it plays out. Tesla got discredited, so you didn't learn about free energy and Wi-Fi energy, and you learned about Thomas Edison and the light bulb, which I call him that thieving ass white boy, because he only got one idea supposedly that's actually his, and that's not a racist thing. I'm just describing him. You see what I'm saying? I just called him a thieving ass white. I've called him that all my life since I was little, because I found out this when I was little. And what's crazy is, for people that knew me, when I say that, they be like, "Oh, you talking about Thomas?" Yes, that's the dude. Yeah, him. Everybody, people that know me know when I say that. Yeah, but if you don't know, really know, like, but I gotta talk to you anyway. But yeah, man, like that's how they do it. That's how they just discredit these guys, and then they fade off in the obscurity, like the scientists that said the moon was plasma. Like, yeah, but we all learned about it at some point. They just made them all seem stupid. You know what I mean? So the science behind these wormholes and this being a simulation, these people are acting on it. You know what I mean? You can look at it and say it's a conspiracy theorist and they're not really doing that and blah, blah, blah. Except I can show you where these people are actively taking a part to head in that direction. They're working based off of that information, that they can make wormholes, they can make black holes. You can control the weather. You know what I mean? You can make a huge CERN machine and make this substance called antimatter, which is capable of making anything. That you can have this machine that is capable to have the power to recreate the Big Bang. This is all stuff they're doing. They're working towards these goals. You know what I'm saying? They're actively moving as if this is a simulation. As if this is all a facade. Like it's not really here. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm looking at. Forget that I'm saying it. How are they moving? What are the things they doing? And to do that, you gotta look at you gotta look into some of these projects like CERN, HARP, geoengineering, earthquakes. This is one thing, like, there's nothing new under the sun. If they've done shown you this in movies and in cartoons, they doing this shit somewhere, some way along the lines. Like, it's been a lot of weird earthquakes out here. We had one back, I want to say it was during 2020, actually. It was a lot of shit that happened during 2020. And the earthquake was like 50, 60 miles north of my location. And I'm in Greensboro, North Carolina, and they felt that earthquake all the way down in Atlanta at the time that the earthquake happened. Now, an hour later, almost an hour later, we felt it in Greensboro, and they felt it in Charlotte. And I talked to one person, they were like, "Oh, aftershocks." Aftershocks are supposed to only happen within 50 miles of the epicenter of the actual earthquake. And the epicenter of the actual earthquake was like 60 miles north of here, almost in Virginia, in some small town. and it wasn't a whole lot of damage. But these other places around, they got messed up bad. Some of these places got messed up. The infrastructure was messed up pretty bad. And then the quake that happened an hour later don't really match up with how things are supposed to go. You see what I'm saying? It's not the way it's supposed to work. And then there's no explanation for it. So at that point, we don't know what happened. So you're left with an option. You either forget about it and just move on, or me, that's one of those things I stick into a little folder, a little file in my head, and I lock it away, and I'll never forget, like, okay, this happened. And that's how I sort of go about doing it. These little events that they have all the time, that's how, and then you look up certain things, and you'll see certain reports on what devices they're using. Oh, okay, that's how they can do this. This is how they can do that. You know what I mean? It's wild. And this is basically the rabbit hole. They show you movies of a company that's making some T virus and they producing these zombies. Look up the name of the company. See, is that a real company? What do they actually do? Oh, they actually do something having to do with biogenetics and chemical engineering with genes and what? Huh? Really? So the Umbrella Corporation is a real company? Yes. And then you got the show, the Umbrella Academy. It's all linked together because the things they do are under umbrellas. The umbrella itself is symbolic because it's a big group of them. And the group is not even big, except it's a group of them that get together and they run a whole lot of shit and doing a whole lot of these things. And we call them the Illuminati, the whatever, the hidden hand, the secret government, whatever you want to call them, man. They go by a bunch of different names, man. It's two types of people here, man. And I'm gonna keep saying it. It's two types of people. There's the humans, the human, us, and there's these other people that is not like us, which. And I'm going to go ahead and rock with Bro Sanchez because the way he explained it sound good. It's mankind because they're like man. They're not really mankind. They're really not man, but they kind of like man. You see what I'm saying? And you call them mankind. They walk like us. They talk like us. They are not like us. Pay attention. They walk like us. They talk like us. They look like us. They not like us in the slightest. And just pay attention. And they're all around us. They among us. Wasn't that a video game, Among Us? And you had to figure out who the killer was. And everybody in there, anybody could have been a killer. And you just got to figure out, depending on what story the other people are saying, who the killer was and what happened. Yeah, it's sort of like that. They put all this stuff in the game and everything, man, right in front of your face. Pay attention because the killer right there around you, you didn't even know. They've been here for a while. They've been doing this for a while. This is the virus. These are the pirates. These are the ones. These are them. I ain't going to say the other word, but these is them. Y'all know what I'm talking about. These is them. The ooze. Ooh-wee. The ooh-wee. Yeah. It's them. And at this point, it's all of them. It's all of us. From any nation that you can think of. Races is made up, and I don't like to really say races, but it's the word we use is what people understand. You know what I'm saying? They're of all races, all ethnicities from all around the world. And they get together and they meet at this place and decide what they're going to do with us and how they're going to run the world and whatnot. And how they're going to, advance whatever agenda they got next. They make up a bunch of agendas. You know what I'm saying? They get together and meet this place called the UN. See what I'm saying? And it's everybody. And they do it right in front of your face. You know they do it. They let you know they doing it. They got the G4, the G6 meeting, whatever it is, and let you know, yeah, we about to get together and decide. And then they had a little meeting, and then they got all these little break-off groups, the World Health Organization, the World Economic Forum and whatnot, all part of their little crew or whatever to help move along certain agendas that's all out here in the world. And in turn, most of us look up to these people and, you know what I'm saying, like Queen Elizabeth, while they doing their thing. And the whole time, it's a whole destruction type of thing. And if you didn't quite understand everything I'm saying right now, don't worry about it, because this is a story that's going to repeat. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to keep on explaining it because it's deep. It's deeper than what you think it is. And nothing, man, look, the truth is stranger than fiction. The truth is stranger than fiction. I'm going to tell you now, man, like when I started on this, all I wanted to know was the truth. That's it. I don't have any emotional attachment to this stuff here no more. All that stuff left a long time ago. My last attachment was like football. You know what I'm saying? Things here I thought was right. That was it. Childhood heroes, all that stuff, favorite rap, all that, it's all gone. It's all gone. I don't got no more attachment to this place. Holidays, no nothing. I ain't got no attachment to this place no more. Everything here is just information. For most of the people like me, like that's what you'll find out. Like we enjoy ourselves, we have fun. Like there's no emotional attachment to this stuff here. It's about the information that you find. Like eat the fish and spit out the bones, man. Like everything here is just information. It's all part of the whole learning process, which is what we're supposed to be doing here, except we have this virus here. We have this entity, these invaders that have come here and usurped. And now, I don't know, I hate to say the term stuck, because I'm not stuck. I'm not stuck. I already see the path out. You know what I mean? And they are trying to keep us here, man. Like, and really, like, now I really got to take some of what Bro Sanchez said right here, man. That it's the way to describe it. It's like the class clown. The class clown always get left behind. You don't never move up. So we supposed to be rising in our consciousness. You want to get out of the lower chakra into the higher chakra because you want to align all the chakras. You want to be in control of all of them. This class clown is not allowing us to learn and align our chakras so we can elevate and get on up out of here. You see what I'm saying? They want to keep us here and keep us back. These are the souls that are reincarnating in this place, right? That keep coming back. And because, and you know what? I never really thought about it until now. Because there aren't, for several reasons, we are getting out of here, and they only have so many people that are gonna keep reincarnating here. Now, people are coming in to get people out of here. Some people came in just to get people out of here, and that's what they're here for. You see what I'm saying? And even still, they're still here, and they lost their mission when they came in, and they got to do the process too. They got to do it too. You know what I mean? They knew that we knew that coming in. We knew the rules. So what I'm saying is, there are only so many souls that are coming in here, so there's a certain number that they're always going to get to. Except at the same time, there's a certain number they want to keep, because in the Bible, they want to keep you. You go to, in the Bible, Jesus makes his heaven here on earth, and those that were supposed to go to heaven become his servants here on earth forever. And that's where we're at, servants forever. That you don't leave, you don't get out of here, you stay and you serve, and that's what we're working on. This is the whole taking your consciousness out of your body with Neuralink. This is the monkey in the computer, the whole simulation theory. Like, you stay here forever in some type of program. Taking it a step further, now you have the metaverse where you can go in and you can live in your own virtual reality world. And this is the first version now. There will be more. How long this version run, I don't know. How soon the next version will be out, I don't know. There will be more versions of it though. So you can go live in your own Grand Theft. There was a movie out with Bruce Willis. It was called Surrogates. And in the movie, the actual people lived in their house. They never left. And they would hook up in these seats and do this whole mind out of body, and they would run around in these robot bodies and go to work. You know what I mean? Go get the groceries, go out on dates and go bowling and play softball and whatnot in the robot bodies, and then bring the robot bodies home to recharge and then go out and do it again. It was to the point where some people, all they did was hook up in their body. So even when they brought the robot body home to recharge, you know, they never left the house. The robot done already brought home the groceries and everything. They ain't got to go and do nothing. And if the other partner is still running around in a robot, like, you can't bother them. You can't disturb them. You know what I'm saying? They're in the body, running around. So you make yourself something to eat. Your partner make themselves something to eat. When they come out the body and rest and whatnot, y'all don't even talk. Everything is done through the body. The only time they was talking was when they was in the bodies. You see what I'm saying? They didn't actually talk to each other face to face. And at the end of the day, like, this is where I see all this stuff headed. Like I said, they could take you out of your body, and this is the whole thing. They can't make you do it. Everything got to be your choice, so they're going to make it sweet. They're going to make it sound like, oh, you going to space. Oh, you going to Mars. We're going to shoot your body to the moon. That's Makai Kakao. Kaku, whatever his name. We're going to go over that too, man. I've been going long enough today, though. We're going to go over that too. I'm going to come back at you real soon, and we're going to go over that too. Before I close out, let me go ahead and write that down, because I went over the ship, and we're going to talk about the whole shooting your consciousness to space. Yeah, that's what they're talking about doing. Not going on no rocket ships, shooting your consciousness. But yeah, the ship is important because, like I said, I don't know what vehicle they're using to do this, except I know what I see in the sky. And it could be this ship. You see what I'm saying? It could be this starship they're making. You know what I mean? With the that flies off of electromagnetic waves or frequencies or whatever. Like I said, this thing right here, you don't see no engines on it. You don't see no exhaust on it. There was none on what I saw. As smooth as this thing is right here with the little ridges and whatnot, that's what the shit I saw looked like. Wasn't no exhaust, wasn't no intake, wasn't no cooling, none of that. You know what I mean? It's just that. And it's going so slow, it looked like it was floating. That was the other thing I thought was weird. The drones too. The drones just looked like they was floating. It was going so slow. Right with this thing. It was crazy weird. And what I'm saying is, like, this could possibly be the vehicle they're using. This was the vehicle they were using in this movie, and I'm not sure when they did this movie, but this is back in the 80s. I know this is an old movie. I used to watch it a lot when I was a child, man. I loved this movie. And yeah, just seeing that thing right there, man, it all ties in together. On surface, it might look circumstantial. that, oh, it's just a coincidence they did this movie about traveling in different dimensions, and now years later we got this simulation theory about how we in a simulation, and this is actually a multi-dimensional thing where it's not. It's predictive programming. It's so when you find out, you won't even be shocked. You'll be like, so well, and just keep on going. So what? We're in a simulation. So what? You no grasp, no understanding of what that really means. Just keep on kicking, eating, doing the same stuff we always been doing. You know what I'm saying? And instead of changing your ways to work your way out of the simulation, to work yourself out of the matrix. And like I said, like some people, that's their path right now because they want to be in the matrix. Like they love it here. Like, what's the saying? Better to reign in hell than to serve in heaven. That type of thing. Because some people just like to watch the world burn. This is the whole Joker concept. This is the whole Joker energy. The whole thing with the Joker. What was the Joker? Joker was just on chaos. What'd he tell you? I ain't got no plans. I'm a dog chasing a car. If I caught it, I wouldn't know what to do with it. He just in it for the simple shit. I just want to see the world burn. I just like the fire and destruction, the gasoline, the dynamite, the simple things in life, gunpowder. You know what I mean? And that's what they always show us. They don't show us this high-tech stuff that they doing. They don't show us this Starship. Explain that. Teach that in school. They don't talk about the antimatter and how they made it and the CERN machine and what actually they're all doing with it. They make it seem like, nah, you got to learn from us. You got to pay the price to come learn what we talking about, to understand it, and then we'll tell you. You know what I mean? Like, if it's something that's good for humanity, why wouldn't you let everybody know? Why wouldn't you want everybody to try to do this? Because you want to circumvent that and keep anything that can be profited off of this for yourself. That's why. Keep it in secrecy. It ain't about helping us out. I don't care what they say. If they wanted to help you out, like it's like when they want a logo. They have a little contest. Whoever sends in the best logo, the best picture, or whatever you think our logo should be, you win. Yeah, you get a free this and you get a free that. It'd be that type of thing if they really wanted to see that promo is so you really get a logo. You may be too lazy to make your own logo. You might be fresh out of ideas. You might think it's just a good promotion for your business. You know what I'm saying? To get more sales or more views or more hits or more clicks or whatever. You know what I mean? That's the type of thing. With CERN and this technology, they wanted to be obscure to people. They don't want you to know the ins and outs. They don't want you to understand how it works. Because if you did and heard these names and understood what these deities were and all this other stuff, you might be suspicious, Holmes. You might get suspicious, Holmes. I'm telling you. Don't you find that suspicious? I don't like that dude, man. Now that I said it, I'm mad I said it. I shouldn't have said that. I want to edit that one out of there right now. Oh, I don't even like that dude, man. I won't say that no more, man. Yeah, but they don't want nobody to get suspicious, man. You know, keep it kicking as normal. So they'll keep it in obscurity as long as possible. That's why even today it's so many people that don't even know what CERN does. And they done had this thing, been working on it since 1954. Over 70 years, man. 70 years. That's crazy. And I try to tell people they 50 to 200 years ahead of us. Minimum. Minimum 50 years. Very minimum, they 50 years ahead of us. They are possibly as much as 200 years ahead of us. Thus now, some people say more than that. They're at least 50 years ahead of us. And like I said, that's the difference between, I said Nintendo and PlayStation PS5, but that's really like the difference between not even Atari. Texas Instrument was before Atari, actual computer. You know what I'm saying? You just had fun games on learning games. Didn't have like video game type stuff. They had like one video game in the beginning. But like that's the difference between not Atari, but a Texas Instrument, a Tandy, and a PS6, PS7. No, actually, wow. Nah, that would still be the difference between a Tandy, like a Texas Instrument, and a PS like 11, 12. You know what I mean? That much advancement. We ain't even talking about the accessories to go with the game. We just talking about you sitting there with a keyboard and a little joystick and a button. We ain't even talk to a daggone PS12. I wonder what they're gonna do for a 12. You know what I mean? I wonder how much the graphics gonna be done changed for a 12. Like what all were they gonna do? They already got it in the mix, it's already in the plan. But that's how they stay advanced though. Just like that. So even back then when they did this movie, the concept of this, they was working on it already. This is real technical, but they gave it to us like some sci-fi, like this ain't even possible. This is just the movies. That's the programming. That's how you make it sound like some conspiracy theory shit. Meanwhile, we actually making one of these in Area 51. We really got one down there, dog. And on top of that, we're gonna tell them it's the aliens. Man, I don't know. I know them jokers are sitting around somewhere right now, just like Hannibal, like the damn A-Team talking about. I love it when a plan come together, smoking a damn cigar. I already know it. Oh, and the whole thing with the cigar is symbolic. That's Papa Legbar, man. Like that's the bird flying on the phallus of Geb. You know what I'm saying? Like this goes back to Egyptian culture, which is once again that's Bro Sanchez. He be breaking down these symbols of what it means. We notice the cigar. We see the symbols repeat. The bird and the cigar. We see it. We don't know why is it like that. You see what I'm saying? You see the guy with the long nose and the bird flying, or you see the guy smoking a cigar and the bird flying in the distance, and we don't know why. Why is that picture iconic? Why they keep running that picture over and over again? And that's what he do. He go into the symbolism of these different gods and break it all down, what these guys meant in different cultures and whatnot. Sometimes it's just the same culture, but sometimes they all represented the same thing around the world in different cultures. It just might look different. It might go by a different name. And at the end of the day, the way our society is set up now, we all look at, Christians, the religious folk will look at all this stuff now of today and be like, oh, that's all paganism. Back then, this was the religion. And in the future, when they change what we got now, the people of the future will look back and be like, oh, Jesus, Allah, and Buddha, that's all paganism. You see what I'm saying? Same thing we doing right now. Because by then, they'll have another version of the story, another version of the Bible. It won't be the King James version. It'll be somebody else that writes the Bible. Or they'll just keep chopping and screwing the King James version so much until it sounds completely different. And I always wondered that, like, how you change the words of the Bible? If the Bible is God's words, how you changing the words? Once you change them, it ain't no longer God's words. And really what that sound like, that ain't God's words. It's just you pretending to be God. You see what I mean? If you can just change the words whenever you feel like it. Or sit here and tell me and God had a secret meeting. He came and talked to me. He changed that shit. He ain't tell everybody. Fuck out of here. Y'all, we gonna get into the Bible thing. We gonna get into Christianity. We gonna talk about a whole lot of stuff, man. We gonna talk about a whole lot of stuff. But yeah, like I was saying, like one last thing. Let me finish and get this out, man. the technology to interdimensionally travel. This, like a ship like this starship that I showed you before, that this starship, things like that, and this starship here that I showed you before, because I think this thing right here, they calling this anti-gravity. Ain't no such thing as gravity, man. So what I think we're here is it's an anti-gravity, antimatter engine, and they just calling it anti-gravity. You see what I'm saying? They ain't telling you about electromagnetism and all the other stuff. They calling it anti-gravity. They got a little video out on this thing too, man. It's crazy how what's going down, because like they do have videos out about this thing, except they get on the news and pretend they don't know what this triangle thing is. And then you never see it used in war or in, you know what I mean, air shows. Like I said. But what I'm saying is these things have the ability, I think, to travel interdimensionally. That's why I keep talking about them, because these are the types of vehicles I think they're using to do this interdimensional travel. And when we see it as shooting stars. There's little bright lights in the sky that streak across at night and just sort of disappear and don't really hit anything. That's what I think. And they've been and this is just the beginning. It's more to come. Like, and I'm sure if you read Revelations, you can find some correlation to where they're doing this in Revelations. And because that's where we are. And that's sort of how the rabbit hole works. Once you can find a reference source, so that's what people be using the Bible for, as a reference source. It's not that the Bible is correct. The Bible is correct in the fact that it is a script that they are following. It is a reference source for a lot of people who are doing this research. You can look back and see in the Bible where somewhere in the Bible it talks about this, except we're not taking the Bible word for word. It's a deciphered code in the Bible. And if you take it word for word, that means you got to believe in magic. Or at least that's the assumption that most people come up with when the Bible says certain things. And you can call it the miracle of God or the power of God or whatever you want to call it, a miracle. It ain't nothing but magic. Some mysterious force you don't know and don't understand and don't understand how it works, can't explain it, so it's just magic. You see what I'm saying? That's why I like Superman. He's not considered magic, because you know what X-ray eyes are, what they do and all that stuff. Super strength. You name his powers, so it's not magic. Once you know what it is, it's no longer magic. You see what I'm saying? When it's nondescript and you can't explain it, to the uninformed, that's what happens. To little children, that's what you tell them. It's magic. And with that right there, we're going to shut it down for right now, and I'm gonna come back at you next time, my niggas, and we're gonna keep it flowing, man. I still ain't got the St. Patrick. We're gonna go on these saints, man. I'm gonna go ahead and write his name down right now so I don't forget. And I need to go ahead and shoot consciousness, because I'll forget to write that in there. Consciousness and St. Patrick. Yup. But we're going to get back to him, and we're going to holler at y'all next time. Peace and love. We'll see you around. This your boy Cole Brown. I'm back in town. Check me out. Peace.